Okay.
Dropped my flight packet, got to Fort Rucker, and I was good for, I don't know, a year. Yeah, a year and a half there. I was good. Everything was going well. I was doing well in flight school. Then we had our daughter in 2016, and I didn't take any paternity leave, man. I was just in flight school. I was like, I can't risk recycling a class and getting
Mhm.
held back 6 months. That was just kind of my thought process. So I just kept sprinting, kept going. She was a blessing, but a horrible baby. She cried nonstop and did not sleep. Like the cry it out adage, right?
Yeah,
Just let them cry
yeah,
it out. We
yeah,
would, we tried that with her because we were like, I don't know what else to do. Dude, I'm not kidding. She would just cry forever. Like it didn't work at all.
yeah.
So we were in a storm essentially. And that
Yeah.
was a huge factor of it, right? It was just so many compounding stressors that were just adding up in life. And they weren't
Mhm.
like, contrary to what most people think, like when a veteran talks about mental health, it wasn't PTSD, right? It wasn't from like some traumatic combat thing. It was
Yeah,
life, dude. It was
yeah.
just life and pushing so freaking hard for so long. And it just caught up to me. So yeah, I was in class one day and there was no lead up to this. I just randomly got punched in the face with suicidal thoughts just out of nowhere. And it floored me. I didn't know how to respond because I had never experienced anything like that before. I thought I was immune to it, frankly. I thought I was one of those guys that like it couldn't happen to because I was tough.
Can I ask a couple questions real
Yeah,
quick?
absolutely.
So, you'd seen combat obviously as SF before you got to flight school, right?
Actually, kind of, not
Okay,
really.
okay,
So I did a
okay,
combat deployment to the
okay.
Philippines.
Gotcha.
Since I was in Okinawa, we first group, first battalion does a lot more JSITs, which are training
Mm,
other countries'
right.
forces. So
Force multiplier
a
stuff.
lot heavier up, a lot heavier on that. So I did a
Okay,
6 month combat rotation, but it wasn't. I didn't ever shot my gun.
okay, okay.
Like it wasn't.
Second question, because the way you were brought up in the church and you mentioned Harry Potter and Pokemon, did you have any exposure or understanding of spiritual warfare as a young adult coming up through the church?
No,
Okay.
honestly, I thought it was BS. To be
Really?
honest. To be
No
honest,
shit.
I
Okay.
did not think it was a real thing, and I will preface that with I I got saved when I was, I don't know, 14, 13, 14, something like
Mhm.
that. But when I joined the army, I knew what was right, but I drifted from it. I was not a practicing Christian, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I was partying all the time, drinking all the time, like I was not comfortable enough even saying I was a Christian, if that makes sense.
Are you sure your last name's not Morris? Because I think we've had a parallel.
Right? I
I
know, dude.
I did the same thing. I went hard
Yeah.
left in college, and I didn't feel worthy to go to church. I didn't feel
Yep.
worthy to say I was a Christian either. That's
Yep.
wild, man. That's wild.
Same. And
Okay.
honestly, until recently, probably the last 2 years, I still wouldn't have felt comfortable publicly saying that, right? Because there's just I just didn't feel like I was worthy of it or I was living up
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I totally understand that, man.
for
Okay.
sure. So
And
on the spiritual warfare piece, I just didn't really, I don't know. I had never experienced it, so I didn't really
okay.
give it the gravity that it deserved,
Right.
I guess.
Okay. I'm just curious because you mentioned that floored you, and I got kind of long winded in that. But when you were sitting in class, and then all of a sudden you had those thoughts, I didn't know if you'd ever had any kind of, like, I mean, we've talked music off air, and obviously metal. The metal world kind of
Yeah.
dives into some darkness. I didn't know if maybe when you were younger, maybe something was stirred up before you
I
got
mean,
to the army.
maybe, right? But it
Hmm.
wasn't anything that I could like put my finger on, you
Gotcha.
know.
Okay. Okay.
Now we'll get into it, but spiritual warfare is 100 and 100% real.
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
100% real.
Yeah.
And I
I had to
experienced that. Yeah.
I had to fight some of that today, by the way. So yeah, it's real. It's
Yeah,
real.
it's 100% real, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. We can get
Well,
into it, but
I didn't mean to get you off track. So you had
no,
these
you're good.
thoughts. you're in flight
Yeah.
school, you had these thoughts, and I was born in Enterprise, Alabama, so my dad was at Fort Rucker when
No,
I was born.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah, there's
That
another
is so
another
wild.
yeah, dude.
So
Um,
wild.
so kind of walk the listeners through you have those thoughts, and I read
Yeah.
that chapter, so I know where you're going to go with this, but I want you to share it if
Yeah.
that's cool with what happened next.
No, for sure. And it's because I want people to listen to this like not from a non-judgmental thing, right? Because it's really easy to hear it and be like, "Oh, like suck it up." You just had kids and everybody goes through that. But the reality is like when you're in this moment, when you're in this depressive state, in this suicidal state, like you don't truly have control over your thoughts. You're not choosing to have these negative thoughts, right? Like every single day, man, I was pissed at myself because I was having these thoughts. Like I did not want them to happen at all. All right. Like I just want to make that really clear. Like there was no victim mentality or like woe is me, right? It was almost the opposite. I was just pissed off that it was happening. Um, but another really important part to dig in on is when these thoughts happen to me, like when I just didn't know what to do, I started obsessing over them in an attempt to fix them, right? It wasn't like obsessing over them in a good way. It was obsessing over them like, why are they happening? How can I get rid of them? And how can I prevent this from happening again? That was my mentality. But by doing that, man, I was giving these thoughts so much attention that it just allowed them to take hold of me and grow roots and get deeper and darker and more intense. So yeah, it was scary, man. It was just I didn't know what to do. I really
Yeah.
didn't. I tried all the Google stuff, right? All the meditation and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
stuff, and just nothing was helping.
Did you talk to your wife about it when they first started happening?
I told her the way she found out is pretty messed up. There was one night where, and this is only like a week after the onset. So it hit me hard and fast. About a week after, maybe 2 weeks after it happened, I was sitting on the side of my bed and I had like a fingerprint safe next to my bed with my pistol in it and everything. And that was always like the terrifying thought when I was laying in my bed, right? I'd literally see myself do it. And it was just terrifying, dude. Especially the fact that or the thought that, my kids might be the ones that see it. You know what I mean? So it was tough. But I'm sitting on the side of my bed and I was just so scared that I called her into the room and I was like, babe, I need you to take my gun, take apart the pieces and hide them from me. Like just I don't want to know where they are and just hide them from me. And thank God she did. She didn't know how to react, obviously. It was very yeah, I mean, she was in her own storm that I didn't know either. So we were almost just like surviving and praying we made it through it type of thing. So that's how she found out, which is
Okay.
it's heavy, man. I
Yeah.
didn't think
Yeah.
through it, obviously. I was just desperate and scared. So that's yeah.
But, it says a lot about you, Nick, to be able to at least tell her and not hide it. And I've read the book, so I know probably more than the viewers, but
Yeah,
I wanna give your wife some credit. I mean, there's a whole
bro.
chapter that she writes, and I mean, dude, you have an amazing wife. I
She's a
mean,
warrior, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, just
A
that
loyal
her
warrior.
yeah. But give yourself credit. I mean, you spoke up. And how many guys with your background, with the way you were raised, you don't make B's, you gotta make A's. I mean, how many guys would have done that? I don't know, man. I mean, that takes a lot of
Yeah.
courage in itself?
Yeah. Um, yeah, for sure. And it was
It
scary.
does. I mean,
It was
it does.
scary. It was